Last Sunday, we studied verses 12 to 16 in the 13th chapter, dealing with that supreme reality which we have to realize, which is the seed of this universe, the source of this universe. In a series of beautiful verses, Krishna told us that Supreme One has become the many, appears to have become the many. That is the language. Iva, as if, one and many. Is a big problem in philosophy. And Vedanta has given the answer. One alone is true. All the other multiplicity which you see, they are all passing forms. Not one of them is permanent. Brahman alone is permanent, eternal. These are merely names and forms. Nama Rupa as a language. Brahman plus name and form is the universe. Take the name and form away, it is all Brahman. That is the position of Advaita Vedanta in India. Just like the ocean. The ocean alone is true, not the wave. Wave is only a temporary manifestation of the ocean. We give it a form and a name. Take that form and the name from the wave, it is nothing but the ocean. Similarly, many examples Vedanta gives. You take gold and make ornaments, varieties of ornaments. Each one has a name and form, but they are not true. Gold alone is true. They are only names and forms. Nama Rupa. This is language used in Vedanta. So here we studied verse 16 last Sunday. There certain difficult ideas had come, which I explained in terms of modern science, whereas you go deeper into matter, your normal logical language fails. That is the nature of all subtle realities. So, in man, when you discover the Atman, how to describe him? Only through contradictory languages, paradoxical languages. It is near, it is far, it is small, it is big. All these languages will come. I gave some example, and also some other example also I shall give. Now this particular truth is expounded in these verses. The Kshetratnya chapter. Very philosophical. Shankaracharya goes into ecstasy in writing his commentaries. One verse he will write sometimes 6-7 pages of commentary, because there is depth of thought and experience in this section. Here we just begin verse 17. He had said in verse 16, this particular statement there, Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu, vibhaktam iva cha sthitam. This Supreme Reality exists in all divided things, itself undivided. There's a language. Several examples I gave from nuclear physics in dealing with this subject. Also, the experiences of mystics, when they actually realize God, what kind of experience comes to them? One of the beautiful books is Evelyn Underhill's book on mysticism. She studies various mystics, Christian and non-Christian, and their statements are like the statements of the Upanishads and the Gita. In normal language, you can speak of God sitting in the sky or hidden in our heart. You can say all that. But when you come to the truth of the matter, these mystics say exactly what the Gita said. Avibhaktam vibhakteshu. You are different, I am different, everything is different here. But He exists in all of us without any difference, without any division. He is undivided in things apparently divided. That was the shloka that we studied. And I quoted one mystic in that connection, that is Suso, one of the Christian mystics, very famous, where he said that nameless something which is great enough to be God and small enough to be me, he said. That is the Supreme Reality. That is one statement. Then comes, if thou conceivest a small, minutest circle, as small as a grain of mustard, and yet the heart of God is wholly and perfectly within that. Wholly and perfectly within that. What a wonderful thing. God cannot be divided. He is in His fullness in every one of these divided things. That is the experience of mystics. It is not a logical language. Logic goes by that second law of contradiction. That if A is true, non-A must be necessarily false. That's called law of contradiction. But when you go beyond this logical level, A, non-A, all these can exist. This logic doesn't obtain there. That is admitted by many, many religions and teachers, that logic doesn't give you any insight into this fundamental truth, the truth of God. That's all. Logic can deal with duality on the basis of relationship. There must be some relation, and there must be two things. Then you can go on using logic. You are going to a reality which is beyond all these distinctions. Their logic fails. And so, in the Sutra Bhashya, the Vedanta Sutras of Vyasa, Badarayana, there is one sutra where this idea is expressed, that logic cannot apply for this reality. It is beyond all logic. Logic is inconclusive. That is the actual translation. Tarka apratishthānāt. Tarka cannot find a pratishtha. It can go on indefinitely. Tarka cannot give you that final answer. So tarka apratishthānāt is a language. And Suppose tarka is difficult to apply here, then shall we become illogical, irrational, instinctive? No. You have to go beyond tarka. That is a great subject, how human mind can go beyond tarka, beyond duality. Tarka always involves duality. But in this, there is no duality. How do you do so? Only through experience, not through ratiocination. Experience is the touchstone. And those who experience religion, they speak almost the same language, that reality is beyond expression. It is infinite, and yet it fills even a mustard seed. This kind of language you find in all this type of mystical experiences, whether it is Christian, Hindu, Muslim, everywhere it is the same. Only thing is, in all this, Christianity as well as in Islam, if you experience this kind of thing, you have to utter it very carefully. Otherwise, you will be hanged. These are all going against the dogma of the church, dogma of the Sharia, of the Islamic religion. So they are very afraid to pronounce it correctly and succinctly. But sometimes they do. And when they do so, they are caught and they are killed. Many beautiful mystics have been killed, have been persecuted. Only in India, when a person says, I have experienced something, we don't kill him. We want to hear, because that is the aim of religion, experience. So we like to hear him. We respect him. He may be a Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu, doesn't matter. Because you say you have experience of God, I want to hear. Tell me what you have experienced. I also would like to get it. That is how we have been educated in India. The mystical dimension of religion is the experiential dimension of religion. There is not a question of argument. The question of come and see, as Buddha said in one discourse, ehi pasya, come and see, demonstration. That is called the mystical dimension of religion, which takes you beyond logic. Logic works only in this world of relations. A is related to B, B is related to C. We can get all of them and explain these in the language of logic. Tarka means that logic that cannot reach to this level. Tarka stands far below. Intellectualism and intellectual ratiocination do not give us the ultimate reality. You can use these for our worldly purposes and also keep the mind clear so that we are not deluded by some supernatural events or experiences. We can check up that much only. Vivekananda calls it a street cleaner. He cleans the street for the master to go. Tarka is only a street cleaner. But Tarka is good in normal life. For day-to-day life, it is necessary to be rational. You can't be rational in day-to-day life. Nothing will move then. So, but here we are dealing with the transcendental level of experience beyond the sensory level. That is why this language comes. So, the verse 17 goes one step more. Jyotisham abhita jyotih tamasah paramuchyate jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya dhishtitam. This Atman or this Brahman, this Jnaya Vastu is the light of all lights. Jyotisham apita jyotih. Whatever light you find in this world, this is the light of that light. That means These things that light up the world, they get light from the Atman, from Brahman. So he is called the light of all lights. Jyotisham apita jyotihi. That is a very wonderful investigation in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In other Upanishads also, the idea comes there, especially in Katha. How to describe the Atman, describe pure consciousness, absolute and non-dual. How? There the language is used. Na tattva suryo bhavati. There the sun cannot illumine, nor the moon, nor the stars, nor these lightnings, not the light in your house, cannot illumine the Atman. The Atman shines, and these things shine after it. By its light, the whole universe is lighted. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. By his bhasa means light. Idam, the whole universe, is lighted. So it is called Jyotisham Jyotihi, the light of all lights. The sun is a source of light to us, but the sun itself is to the Atman a product of the Atman's light. Light of the Atman coming through the sun, coming through every source of light, because the only thing that is really with light in its own nature is pure consciousness. Everything else is purely physical entities, dull, dead entities. So light is the product of the nature of pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is always light. It can illumine itself, can illumine others as well. In the Taittiriya Brahmana, the Vedas, you find that wonderful statement, Yasya Tejasa Iddha Suryo Tapati. This sun shines impregnated with the light of the Atman, light of Brahman. There's a language from the very beginning, because we were in search. What is the source of light in this world? In one whole chapter in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, this subject comes. How do you live and work? Under what light? Naturally we say, we have got our electric light, we have got our torch light, all this we say. They are also taken from the sun. So finally we go to solar energy. What is behind the solar energy? This discussion goes on. Finally, the answer comes. Atmanesha Jyotisha Palyate Karma Kurute. It is through the light of the Atman that we work, that we move about, etc. Only we don't know it because nearby lights are big enough to us. This subtle light cannot be known, cannot be seen. Just like solar energy is a fraction of some of the energy of the stars. But as soon as the sun shines, the stars are shut out. You can't see the star. That similarly, the little lights that are around us, including our little intellect, make the Atman's light shut out for us. That is why we say we live by this light, by that light. But when you eliminate all this as products of something else, that something else, when you seek, the answer finally comes. God's light lights the universe, lights everything. Sun, stars, all the galactic systems, all get their light only from the light of all lights, Brahman. So he said, Jyotisham apita jyotihi tamasa paramuchyate. Beyond all darkness is this light of the Atman. There is not a trace of darkness there. Pure light. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. By His light, the whole universe is lighted. That's why God is described as light. This is physical light. We have got our intellectual light. This is pure consciousness light. Light of pure consciousness. And that is there not only in nature outside, but in man also, everywhere. Because the whole universe has come from that light only. We consider the origin of the universe as pure consciousness, the light of pure consciousness. Every energy in this world is a transformation of that pure light of consciousness. That is Vedantic language. Much of modern astronomical language is coming closer and closer to this statement of Vedanta. Another 50 years more, tremendous developments may come. These are all the product of experience by brilliant minds, not ordinary neurotic type of people. Great intellects, morally great people, they experienced these truths, communicated them to humanity through the Upanishads. Then, tamasah paramuchyate, beyond all tamas or darkness, jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam, knowledge, what is to be known, jneyam jnanagamyam, the goal of all knowledge. All the three. Where shall we find this? All the three. Hridi sarvasya dhishtitam is established in the heart of all beings. Within your heart, all the three are there. Jnanam, Jneyam, Jnanagamyam. It's not far away, near, nearest to the near. And so, our Eckhart, German mystic, has said something like this: God is nearer to me than myself. First line. He is just as near to wood and stone also. But they know it not. They cannot understand it. The human mind can catch it, can realize it. The other objects of the world, they don't have that organic capacity to know this truth. This is the 12th century Eckhart. He was a real Advaitin. And because he was an Advaitin, he was caught by the Inquisition, Papal Inquisition. Come, we want to examine your doctrines. Fortunately, he died before he could go before the Inquisition. That is why he was saved. Otherwise he would have been hanged. Because such a profound teacher. God is a personal thing. But there is beyond the personal, the impersonal. And he used a new word, Godhood. This is God, that is Godhood, the impersonal. Saguna Brahman, Nirguna Brahman, that kind of language. His experience, he said. That's the story of Master Eckhart, German mystic, 12th century. Jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya dhishtitam is established in the heart of all. What a high status man gets in the light of Vedanta. That behind this body-mind complex is a profound truth. A very precious thing is there. Only we don't know it. And it is good to try to know. That's a language. Our own mystics will refer to it in various languages. Ram Ratan Maine Payo. I have discovered that Ram Ratan, the gem of Rama in my heart, I have discovered. One poet will say. Similarly, others also. We do not know the tremendous power of God hidden within us. Because we don't know it, we are wandering about here and there, constantly finding happiness there, out all the time, not knowing that everything is here. A tremendous world of reality is within me. This is the teaching central to Vedanta. Man is essentially divine is the first sentence Swamiji gives when he summarizes the whole Vedantic teaching. In page 124 or so of volume 1, complete works, you will find this beginning of Raja Yoga. Each soul is potentially divine. Number one. Second is, the goal of life is to manifest this divine within. How? By controlling nature, external and internal. There is an internal nature. Our anger, our pride, our vanity, and our attachments. All these are internal nature. We have to overcome them and control also external nature. Do this and be free. Realize this truth, then you are perfectly free. Doctrines and dogmas and rituals, books and temples and churches are only secondary details. The main thing is, are you manifesting the divine within? Whatever methods you use, it doesn't matter. That is how Swamiji summarizes the whole teaching of Vedanta in 3 or 4 lines. So, Hridi Sarvasya Thishtitam. In the heart of all, the Lord is hidden, He is present there. All the Upanishads proclaim this truth. Esha sarvesha bhuteshu gudho atma na prakashate. Kathopanishad said, this Atman is present in every being, but lying hidden. We have to search for it, and that means you develop your mind for a tremendous adventure like Everest climbing. Courage is needed because the path is very difficult to discover Him. It is like walking on the edge of a razor. The mind must be very subtle to understand this truth. These are the various statements in the Upanishads. So in this chapter, Krishna is bringing the sense of those great teachings to instruct Arjuna and all of us through this chapter. Then he concludes, Iti kshetram tatha jnanam nyayam choktam samasataha madbhakta etat vijñāya madbhāvāya upapadyate. I have explained to you in succinct form kshetra, the body, jnana, knowledge, and jnaya, the object of knowledge, that supreme divine. All the three I have explained to you samasataha, in brief. My devotee, understanding these three, becomes fit to become one with me. Madbhakta etat vijñāya madbhāvāya upapadyate. He becomes fit to become one with me, because with this the whole of truth is realized. Jnana, jnaya, and this kshetra, this body. Body is only a container. Precious things are here. Bad things also are here. But the deepest level, only divine spark is hidden within this body. That is the value of this body. Infinite value. Like a box containing a very costly gem. Box is ordinary. Because it contains a profound gem, it has got high value. So also is the human body called kshetra. He started the chapter dealing with the kshetra. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramitya bhitiyate. Arjuna, this body is called a kshetra, where you sow your actions, reap your results of actions, all done in this body. That's why it's called kshetra, the field. And there is somebody here who knows this field. who can understand this field. That's called Kshetrajna, the knower of the Kshetra. There are two things therefore, Kshetra, Kshetrajna. Till now, physical science understood only Kshetra. They didn't care for the Kshetrajna. But now, in nuclear science, they have become aware of the significance of Kshetrajna. Therefore, we use the word observer, and they observed. Till now we are busy with the observed data. Whatever the senses reveal of the world, they are called the observed data. The observer was not seriously taken into consideration. Now we say the observer plays a great part in the producing of knowledge. Mere observed can produce knowledge. He cannot. The observer also participates. So it is called participator. One of the scientists, nuclear scientist, John Wheeler, he uses the word participator. The scientist, his mind is a participator in the creation of nuclear knowledge. What a wonderful change it is. So here he is telling there, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, and the supreme reality of the Jnaya. These three, he said in that very beginning of the chapter, know me to be the Kshetrajna in all the Kshetras. I am the one Kshetrajna in all the Kshetras. Observer is only one. The observed are many, but the observer really is just one. He looks many because you see him through various divisions, various objects. This is beautifully put by nuclear scientist Schrödinger in his book, What is Life? Consciousness is always a singular, never a plural. See the language a scientist is telling. Consciousness or Chit, Sanskrit, Chit, Chaitanya, is only a singular, never a plural. Consciousness is a singular of which the plural is inconceivable, the language. You cannot think of a plural for consciousness. But if you think so many people are conscious here, so many animals are conscious, so there is plurality. That plurality is only due to the medium through which consciousness manifests itself. Really they are not separate. Consciousness is a singular of which the plural is inconceivable, is the last utterance of Schrödinger. That is Vedanta. We have studied this subject, the nature of knowledge, and we came to this conclusion. There is only one infinite pure consciousness. As I said several times, within the solar system, every type of energy is a manifestation of solar energy. They all look different. Things that obtain in the world, they all look different, but they are all solar energy in various forms. Nothing else is there. So in this way, this shloka finally concludes, iti kshetram tatha jnanam jneyam choktam samasataha. Kshetra, jnana, jneya. I have spoken to you about all the three. If you realize this truth for yourself, you become free, you become one with me. Mat bhakta etat vijnaya. That within this body is that infinite Atman. Don't think only your little jiva, your own little soul is moving about here. The infinite is stirring within the heart of man. Man's status is very high because not only the infinite is there, but he can realize it. He has the organic capacity. That is the uniqueness of man among the products of nature's evolution. The highest level of evolution you get in man. The next evolution will be only to discover this truth, to realize it. Now it is only a promise. But the next stage of evolution is not organic, is not high technology, industry, etc. Not at all. Does humanity realize this truth? Does it turn its attention to discover this truth in oneself? That is human evolution. If millions of people realize this truth, even a little, the world will be transformed. That is how Vedanta views this subject. Take our own country. If 10% of the people can realize this truth, even a little, the whole nation will become transformed. That is called today's effort, value orientation of education, politics, everything. To realize that the spark of the divine within me and the same spark in the other person also is there. We are essentially one. In this truth, we are essentially one. This is to be demonstrated by life, by realization. Now, the same subject is being dealt with from the Sankhya philosophy point of view. Different words are used. Till now it was pure Vedanta. But Sankhya also has dealt with the subject. But Vedanta doesn't accept all of Sankhya. Sankhya is dualistic. Vedanta is monistic Advaita. And so, accept this truth that Prakriti and Purusha, nature and the self, they are part and parcel of one infinite reality called Brahman. With that truth, Vedanta accepts all the rest of the Sankhya teaching. In the Gita you find a lot of Sankhya. Even the next chapter it will come. The three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, that is also Sankhya teaching. The word Prakriti, nature, is Sankhya. Purusha, the self, is also Sankhya. Only Sankhya will say there are millions of Purushas. There Vedanta goes against Sankhya. Sankhya unifies the whole world in one Prakriti. So there it is unity. All the things that you find in the world, they are all evolutes of one single Prakriti. So, Advaita, so far as Prakriti is concerned. But when it comes to the self, Dvaita, and plurality, many souls are there, many Purushas are there. There Vedanta says, no, Purusha also is one. And Purusha and Prakriti are one and the same. They are the product of the same reality. So on that basis, Krishna discusses this subject in Sankhyan terminology, where Kshetra, Kshetrajna becomes Purusha and Prakriti. Prakriti means nature. The whole world which you see, nature's evolution, that's called Prakriti. Vikara. Prakriti means manifestation. That ultimate reality manifests in various forms here through an evolutionary process. That is Sankhyan teaching ages ago. Evolution came only in modern thought in the last century. For us it is 4,000 years old. There the word Prakriti comes in. Prakriti, Pradhana, all these are similar words. Then the other is Purusha, the living soul in man. So Prakriti and Purusha, let us study from that point of view. So the next sloka says, sloka 19, Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhi Anadi Ubhavapi. Know that Prakriti and Purusha are eternal. Anadi. Adi means beginning. Anadi, no beginning. Go back as far back as you go. They are there. So it's called Anadi. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhi Anadi Ubhavapi. Ubhav means both. Vikaramscha gunamschaiva vidhi prakriti sambhavan. Whatever modifications you find in this world, vikara, take a piece of wood, shape it into a table, then it becomes an object. It is Prakriti that is converted into the table. It is converted also into the wood. That also is Prakriti. So all vikaras are Prakriti. Transformations, changes. Only in Prakriti it can take place. Vikaramscha gunamschaiva. Wherever there is guna, sattva, rajas, tamas, Prakriti is there. That is Prakriti's manifestation. Vidhi Prakritijan, Prakriti Sambhavan. They have all come from Prakriti. The whole cosmos is the product of Prakriti's evolution. Then where is the place for Purusha? Yes, Purusha is there as the intelligent principle. That is, Sankhyas are very clever. Purusha is inactive, according to the Sankhya's. All activity belongs to Prakriti. So Prakriti is blind, but active. Purusha can see, but it is inactive. Between the two, the evolution has to take place. So how does it take place? Purusha and Prakriti join together and start this evolution. How it happens? So they give an illustration. Here is a blind man. He cannot see. Here is a lame man. He cannot walk. So what did they do? The lame man sat on the shoulder of the blind man and both started moving perfectly well. He can show the way. So Prakriti and Purusha belong to this category. That is how the Sankhyas describe the nature of evolution. Vedanta is different in the approach. Prakriti and Purusha are one and the same reality. That Supreme Brahman is Purusha, pure consciousness. Out of him is Prakriti that comes, and Prakriti evolves. Purusha is there in every piece of evolution, every object of evolution. Vedanta accepts evolution in that way. So next sloka says, Karya Karana Kartrutve Hetu Prakriti Ruchyate. Wherever there is effect and instrumental action, Karya and Karana. Karana means instrument, like sense organs. Karana means cause. Karana means merely instrument. The eye is an instrument of seeing. Ear is an instrument of hearing. That's called Karana. Karya, Karana, Kartrutve. Wherever there is action by this kind of instrument dealing with cause and effect relation, Karya and Karana, and this is Karana. The cause is Prakriti. Karya Karana Kartrutve Hetu Prakriti Ruchyate. There you can see the functioning of Prakriti. You take food and you digest it. You get strength out of it. You can see Prakriti there. In all of this, Prakriti is present. But where is Purusha's presence? Purusha Sugadukhe Dukhanam Bhoktrutve Heturuchyate. Happiness and misery. Wherever is there, you can see the Purusha there. Prakriti has no happiness or misery. It is dull dead matter. Only because there is Purusha, you experience happiness and misery. Now a table or a chair has no happiness or misery. But living beings, even a minutest creature, has got happiness and misery. There you find Prakriti plus some other factor. That other factor is Purusha. So, in general language we say, wherever there is happiness and misery, there is Purusha present. Where there is only pure existence, nothing else is there, that is called Prakriti. The sun exists, Prakriti. Similarly, the whole starry system exists, is all Prakriti. But small insect exists, Prakriti alone won't do. You have to bring in the second factor, Purusha. There is Purusha present there. Prakriti and Purusha combined together, you see, in that living entity. So wherever there is living entities, there is a mixture of Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha Sugadukhanam Kartrutve Bhoktrutve Heturuchyate. Bhoktru, the enjoyer of both happiness and misery. Somebody who says, I enjoy that aspect. No non-living creature or non-living entity has this experience. A rock doesn't say, I am feeling unhappy, I am suffering, or I am full of joy. Doesn't say it. But even a tiny little creature, an insect, not only exists, but also knows pleasure and pain. That is the presence of Purusha. Purusha Sugadukhanam Bhoktrutve, an entity who experiences, experiencer. Bhoktru means experiencer. Wonderful language. Bhoga means experience, Bhoktru, experiencer. So in a tiny insect, you find Bhoktrutva. Somebody is experiencing pleasure and pain. You can't use the word pleasure and pain at all unless there is a Bhoktru. That's called experience in Sanskrit. In English, Anubhava. That insect has Anubhava. But has the sun Anubhava? Not at all. Sun, moon, stars, they have no Anubhava. They have no experience. Experience is a new category that appears on evolution when the living cell appeared. When the living cell appeared, experience appeared. Till then there is no experience. Everything was only Sat, being, existence. The sun is, the stars are. This is called pure being. We call it Sat. As soon as you come to organic evolution, dealing with that little insect, you find Sat and Chit coming into the picture. Sat and Chit. Chit is that Purusha, that experiencer. Then only experience can come. Without an experiencer, there is no experience. And so, that experience may be sorrow or joy. That's called experiencer and the nature of experience. But so far as Brahman is concerned, is always bliss, Ananda. That is his nature. So Sat, Chit, Ananda is the nature of the ultimate reality. It is the nature of all of us also. But at an ordinary level, we don't know this truth. And so we weep, we suffer, forgetting our true nature. We are deluded. As the Mundaka Upanishad said, Anishaya shochati muhyamanaha. On the same tree, there are two beautiful birds. Great friends they are. One sits on the higher branch, neither eating nor drinking, always immersed in its own infinite bliss. Lower branch has another bird that goes on eating and drinking. Sometimes joy, sometimes sorrow. He doesn't know his true nature. But slowly, slowly, he moves towards that higher bird. Here he is helpless. Anishaya, I am helpless. Shochati, he suffers. Muhyamanaha, because he is deluded. Really he has no joy, he has no sorrow. He is of the nature of bliss. He doesn't know this truth. But justam yada pashide asyatyanyameshan. By chance, moving closer, he sees the other bird, his own companion, ever free, ever pure, full of bliss. Then he also gives up sorrow. He also realizes, I am also the same. That is a wonderful treatment in the Mundaka Upanishad. Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya, two birds of beautiful plumage, great friends, sitting on the self-same tree. This body is like the tree. Both are here. The one is full of bliss, the other sometimes sorrow, sometimes joy. That's called you and I, our ego, our limited individuality. But when this realizes that truth, the whole thing changes, full of joy. My nature is Sat Chit Ananda. So Shankaracharya's poem is meant to teach people. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Essentially we are that Shiva of the nature of Chit Ananda. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. So he says, Karya Karna Kartratve Heto Prakriti Ruchyate. Wherever there is action, reaction going on, changes, and through some instrument you try to achieve something, to understand something, you find Prakriti there. But wherever there is pleasure and pain, you find Purusha there, the intelligent principle. This is the nature of the world, both together. Kshetra, Kshetrajna. Kshetra has no pleasure or pain. Kshetrajna has pleasure and pain. So here we call it Prakriti and Purusha in this particular context. Purusha Prakristho hi bhunkte Prakritijan gunan karanam gunasangosya sadasat yoni janmasu. Why is it that we suffer? This Purusha is within the Prakriti. Body is the Prakriti. Purusha is inside it. Remain inside, no harm. But no, he is attached to it. He is attached to this Prakriti. Therefore difficulties arise. Prakriti, Purusha Prakristho hi. Even though Purusha is within the Prakriti, bhunkte Prakritijan gunan. All the gunas arising out of the Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, he experiences himself. The mind, it is mind. With that attitude, he experiences them. That is the reason for his bondage. Karanam gunasangosya. This attachment to the gunas of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, that is the cause of the bondage of this Purusha. Otherwise, he is also free. Karanam gunasangosya. Sadasat yoni janmasu. He is born in various bodies, good or bad. Life after life goes on. As long as attachment to the gunas of Prakriti will remain, this kind of birth and death will continue. Karanam gunasangosya sadasat yoni janmasu. That is the cause of our constant birth and constant death. This attachment to the gunas of Prakriti. Remaining within the Prakriti, there is no harm. But we are attached to it. We feel one with it. So naturally, we have to experience all the ups and downs of Prakriti. That must be ended. That is what the Sankhyas call Kaivalya. They use the word Kaivalya. Aloneness. You are alone. Though you are with Prakriti, I have nothing to do. I am detached. I am alone. That's called Kaivalya. That is their idea of liberation. We use the word Kaivalya also. But the Sankhyan meaning doesn't apply to Vedantic way of speaking of Kaivalya. Absolute freedom. I am free from all attachments. I am free from all bondages. I am myself. I am not something else. That kind of freedom is what Vedanta gives to everyone in this very life, not in some future state of existence. Karanam gunasangosya sadasat yoni janmasu. This is ordinary people. I, getting attached to the body, to the gunas of Prakriti working in the body, then I suffer, I enjoy, I take new birth, goes on like this. But within this very body, there is another dimension of reality which doesn't participate in this kind of interaction with Prakriti. It is ever free. We use the word Sakshi to describe that truth, witness. He doesn't participate in things, he is just a witness, that is all. That reality is our true self. That is the subject of the next verse, that within this very body, not only there is this limited, deluded I, ego is there. Behind it, there is another reality, ever free, ever pure. That is our true nature. At present we don't know it, but we shall know it in course of time. That is the subject of the next verse, verse 22, which we shall take next Sunday when we meet here. Today is Deepavali. Naturally, lot of light, and along with it, fireworks, sound also. So we are having that experience in today's study of the Gita. Plenty of fireworks around. The whole of India, fireworks and lighting. Deepa means light, and we are dealing with light here. Jyotisham apita jyotihi. Why do you put special lights on Deepavali day? Because of that. This light is a symbol of that infinite light of consciousness. We put more lights on once a year. And fireworks as a matter of joy. That's called festival attitude. So today we have this also as part and parcel of the discourse on the Gita. These fireworks going around us. We shall take up the next verse, verse 22, when we meet here next Sunday. I am to go to Delhi on first morning. On the second morning, I have to inaugurate one public sector enterprises seminar called by Chairman Coal India. Om Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. The great Gayatri Mantra, it says, we meditate upon the great glory of that great being, of that great reality. Let him endow us with true understanding. Let him endow us with Dhi, Buddhi, or pure intelligence.